Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says our digital public infrastructure solutions can improve the lives of citizens around the world. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says several precautionary measures have been taken to tackle challenge of new coronavirus variant Omicron. Centre asks states and union territories to be extra vigilant to contain spread of Omicron. National COVID vaccination coverage crosses 126 crore mark. Government sets target to open about 10,500 Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Kendras by March 2025 across the country. President Ramnath Kovind confers annual national awards on International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Cyclonic storm Jawad likely to reach west central Bay of Bengal off North Andhra Pradesh, South Odisha coasts by tomorrow morning. And in cricket, riding on Mayank Agarwal's century, India post 221 for 4 in first innings against New Zealand at stumps on day 1 of Mumbai Test. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the fresh corona variants is also causing concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And other news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India's digital public infrastructure solutions can improve the lives of citizens around the world. After inaugurating Infinity Forum through video conferencing today, he said that India has proved to the world that it is second to none when it comes to adopting technology or innovating around it. Mr. Modi said transformational initiatives under Digital India have opened doors for innovative fintech solutions to be applied in governance.
India has proved to the world that it is second to none when it comes to adopting technology or innovating around it. Transformational initiatives under Digital India have opened doors for fintech innovations to be applied in governance. Technology has also catalyzed financial inclusion. From less than 50% Indians having bank accounts in 2014, we have almost universalized with 430 million Jan-Dhan accounts in the last 7 years.
The Prime Minister said finance is the lifeblood of an economy and technology is its carrier, and both are equally important for achieving Antyodaya and Sarvodaya. Highlighting the importance of fintech, Mr. Modi said fintech has immense opportunity in the country and now it is time to convert these fintech initiatives into a fintech revolution. He said this revolution will help to achieve financial empowerment of every single citizen of the country. Mr. Modi said fintech is resting on 4 pillars: income, investments, insurance and institutional credit. The Prime Minister said mobile payments exceeded the ATM cash withdrawals for the first time last year in the country, and fully digital banks have become a reality and may become commonplace in less than a decade.
Fintech revolution, a revolution that helps to achieve financial empowerment of every single citizen of the country. Fintech industry has achieved huge scale. This fintech acceptability among the masses has a unique feature. That feature is trust. The common Indian has shown immense trust in our fintech ecosystem by embracing digital payments and such technologies. This trust is a responsibility. Trust means that you need to ensure that the interests of people are secure. Fintech innovation will be incomplete without fintech security innovation.
The Infinity Forum event is being hosted by International Financial Services Centres Authority under the aegis of Government of India in collaboration with Gift City and Bloomberg. Indonesia, South Africa and the UK are partner countries in the first edition of the forum. Our correspondent reports that this two-day event is a thought leadership forum with a focus on aspects relating to fintech and using it for inclusive growth. Infinity Forum has an interesting theme, Beyond. Infinity Forum will witness participation from over 70 countries. Niti Aayog, Invest India, FICCI and NASCOM are some of the key partners in this year's Infinity Forum.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Dehradun in Uttarakhand tomorrow. He will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple projects worth around 18,000 crore rupees in Dehradun. He will also address a public meeting at Parade Ground in Dehradun. A significant focus of the visit will be on projects to improve the road infrastructure, which will make travel smooth and safer and also increase tourism in the region. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandviya has said that several precautionary measures have been taken to tackle the challenge of the new coronavirus variant Omicron. In his 90 minutes reply in the Lok Sabha to the marathon discussion on the COVID pandemic, he said 2 cases of infections due to the Omicron strain have been detected in Bengaluru, including one traveller from South Africa and another from the city. He said contact tracing has been done in both the cases and the COVID status of all the contacts has been ascertained. He said the genome sequencing of the viral samples drawn from those who tested positive among them is underway. He said the new strain has been detected in 25 different countries as of 25th of November.
इन सबका जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग अभी चल रही है। भारत सरकार द्वारा राज्य सरकार को सभी आवश्यक सावधानियां बरतने की सुझाव दिया गया है ताकि इस केस के द्वारा ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट का संक्रमण आगे न बढ़े। एट रिस्क कंट्री से आ रही फ्लाइट की सभी यात्रियों की आरटीपीसीआर टेस्टिंग की जा रही है। अभी तक आई कुल 58 फ्लाइट से 16,000 से अधिक यात्रियों की आरटीपीसीआर टेस्टिंग की गई है, जिसमें से 18 यात्री आरटीपीसीआर टेस्टिंग में पॉजिटिव पाए गए हैं और इन सबका जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग चल रहा है ताकि यह सुनिश्चित किया जाए कि इनमें से कितने का वेरिएंट ओमिक्रॉन है या नहीं।
On the question of administering booster doses against COVID, the minister said the scientific opinion of the expert groups on it will be taken into account while deciding about it. Mr. Mandviya said each and every district in the country will have a facility with at least 50 beds to treat the pandemic disease among other illnesses with modern diagnostic facilities capable of doing 115 kinds of tests. The discussion was initiated yesterday by Shiv Sena member Vinayak Raut under House Rule 193, which went on for over 12 hours till late last night. Several members representing various political parties participated in it.
The Centre has asked states and union territories to be extra vigilant in enforcing public health measures to contain the spread of Omicron variant of COVID-19. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has written to Additional Chief Secretary and Principal Secretary of all states and UTs in this regard. He said international passengers are arriving from both at-risk and other countries to different states and union territories. He said all state surveillance officers have been provided an access to Air Suvidha portal of the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Mr. Bhushan asked the states to access the portal every day to know in advance the details of passengers coming in their respective state from different international airports. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 126 crore 44 lakh today. The Health Ministry said over 126 crore 44 lakh 92,000 vaccine doses have been administered till now. It said over 66 lakh 58,000 vaccine doses were administered today. National recovery rate stands at 98.35%. The Health Ministry said the country has reported 9,216 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Currently, India's active caseload is 99,976. The government has set a target to open about 10,500 Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Kendras (PM-BJKs) by March 2025 across the country. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandviya said about 8,533 PM-BJKs are functioning till the 28th of last month. It covers all districts in the states and union territories of the country. He said the product basket of Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana (PMBJP) comprises 1,451 medicines and 240 surgical and consumables. The deep depression over West Central Bay of Bengal has intensified further into cyclonic storm Jawad. It lay centered over West Central of Bengal, about 420 kilometers south-southeast of Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, 530 kilometers south-southeast of Gopalpur, Odisha, and 650 kilometers south-southwest of Paradeep, Odisha. It is likely to move northwestwards and reach West Central Bay of Bengal off North Andhra Pradesh, South Odisha coasts by tomorrow morning. Odisha and Andhra Pradesh governments are fully geared up to tackle the impact of the cyclonic storm. Director General of National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, Atul Karwal said 46 teams have been deployed in West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Andaman and Nicobar.
As per the state's requirement, adequate teams have been deployed, total 46 in number. In addition to that, NDRF has 18 more teams available in those states or the nearby states for additional deployment if required.
Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba today chaired the second meeting of the National Crisis Management Committee (NCMC) in New Delhi and reviewed the preparedness of states and central ministries and agencies to deal with the cyclonic storm Jawad. Chief Secretaries and senior officers of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal and Andaman and Nicobar Islands apprised the NCMC of preparatory measures taken by them. It was informed that all efforts are underway to ensure the safe return of fishermen from the sea. Cyclone shelters have been readied and evacuation of people from low-lying areas is being carried out. On International Day of Persons with Disabilities today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi appreciated the stellar achievements and contributions of persons with disabilities to India's progress. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said their life journeys, their courage and determination is very motivating. He said the Government of India is actively working to further strengthen infrastructure that empowers persons with disabilities. The Prime Minister said the emphasis remains on equality, accessibility and opportunity. President Ramnath Kovind today conferred national awards for outstanding work towards empowerment of persons with disabilities in New Delhi on International Day of Persons with Disabilities. The awards were given to individuals, institutions, organizations, state and district for their outstanding achievements and work towards the empowerment of persons with disabilities. Speaking on the occasion, Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Dr. Virendra Kumar said the government has taken several steps for the empowerment of persons with disabilities. He said Unique ID for Persons with Disabilities project is being implemented with a view of creating a national database for persons with disabilities and to issue a unique disability identity card to each person with disabilities. He said more than 64 lakh unique disability ID card have been issued till date.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inaugurated Earth Station of Doordarshan Kendra in Gorakhpur today. 3 FM stations of All India Radio in Etawah, Lakhimpur, Kheri and Bahraich districts were also inaugurated at this juncture virtually. Speaking on this occasion, Mr. Thakur said that with the inauguration of Earth Station at Doordarshan Kendra, now the local programs originating from Gorakhpur will reach all over the country. The minister said, taking cognizance of the growing trend of listenership of FM radio in the country, the government has decided to give it a boost.
हम आने वाले समय में 3 और सेंटर सुल्तानपुर, रामपुर और महाराजगंज में भी आपको अगले 8 महीनों के अंदर बनाकर दे देंगे। इसके अलावा भी जहां पर उत्तर प्रदेश की सरकार की इच्छा होगी, ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के एफएम के ट्रांसमीटर्स की जरूरत होगी तो वहां एफएम के वो ट्रांसमीटर्स लगाने का काम किया जाएगा।
Addressing the gathering, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said, with the inauguration of Earth Station at Gorakhpur, 4-decade-old demand of the local artists has been fulfilled. Earlier, Principal Director General News of All India Radio N. Venudhar Reddy said that 3 FM stations inaugurated today will further add 1.5 crore listeners to the All India Radio family.
जो लोग कार में सफर करते हैं और साथ मोबाइल लेकर चलते हैं, इन सब लोगों तक आकाशवाणी के कार्यक्रम सुनने के लिए एफएम स्टेशंस की जरूरी है। अब उत्तर प्रदेश में एक साथ 3 एफएम ट्रांसमीटर माननीय मुख्यमंत्री और सूचना एवं प्रसारण मंत्री के कार्यक्रमों से शुभारंभ करने वाले हैं। 20 करोड़ रुपए के लागत से करीब 1.5 करोड़ लोगों तक आकाशवाणी के यह ट्रांसमीटर कार्यक्रम पहुंचाएंगे।
Director General of Doordarshan Mayank Kumar Agarwal also addressed the event. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago.
Here is a review of proceedings in Parliament today. First from the Lok Sabha, writer is Kumar Rakesh of PTI. Replying to a discussion on the COVID-19 situation in the country, Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia informed the Lok Sabha that RT-PCR tests of 16,000 passengers from at-risk countries for Omicron have been conducted so far, as 2 cases with the new variant have been confirmed in Bengaluru. He also said that genome sequencing for the Omicron variant is underway for the international passengers who tested COVID positive and those among the contacts of the 2 affected people. He said the Union government has taken measures to make the country ready for any future challenges and adopted the buffer stock policy to ensure that all states have enough medicines to deal with any further surge in COVID-19 cases. A decision on booster dose and jabs for children will be taken on the basis of scientific advice, he said, and appealed to opposition parties to trust scientists and not to politicize the issue. In his reply to a 12-hour marathon debate on the COVID-19 pandemic, Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia asked opposition parties not to do politics over the issue of the pandemic and noted that India has had one of the lowest death rates per million population in the world. Mr. Mandavia hit out at the opposition for making a political issue on the availability of ventilators, which were funded through the PM Cares Fund, and hailed the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the testing times. He said orders were placed for the supply of 58,000 ventilators, mostly with public sector companies, and 50,200 of them had been delivered to states and 48,000 have been installed at various hospitals. Besides ventilators, the government also ensured availability of COVID protocol medicines across the country to ensure that the states did not appear wanting in the fight against the pandemic. Mr. Mandavia also slammed the opposition parties for creating doubts about homegrown vaccines, which affected the vaccination drive. To the questions on the vaccination drive, the minister said the government is committed to fully vaccinate all the eligible beneficiaries. He said 85% of the beneficiaries have received the first dose, while 56% have been fully vaccinated. He asked the members to ensure 100% vaccination in their respective constituency to speed up the inoculation drive.
Dr. Mandavia said the Modi government had embarked on strengthening the health infrastructure across the country without blaming previous governments who had ignored the sector. Earlier, in replying to a question, Dr. Mandavia today asked the opposition parties to stop playing politics over the issue of oxygen shortage during the second wave of COVID-19 infections and took note of the centre's efforts to ramp up the production of oxygen to meet the surge in demand, if any, in future. Hitting out at the opposition over claims about deaths due to oxygen shortage during that period, he said the centre sought data from states on the matter and only the Punjab government replied that there were 4 suspected cases of such deaths and a probe into them was underway. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said at Chief Minister's meeting that there was no need to hide the number of deaths due to shortage of oxygen. The centre wrote to states thrice, requesting them to provide data on the number of people who died during shortage of oxygen, the health minister said. The discussion on the issue had started on Thursday. The government, meanwhile, sought Parliament's nod to infuse over 62,000 crore rupees into the company that holds residual assets and liabilities of Air India after its privatization as part of over 3.73 lakh crore rupees additional spending planned in the current financial year. The extra spending would include 58,430 crore rupees by way of additional fertilizer subsidy, 53,123 crore rupees towards payment of pending export incentives, and 22,039 crore rupees to Rural Development Ministry for transfer to National Rural Employment Guarantee Fund. Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Chaudhary tabled the second batch of supplementary demands for grants in the Lok Sabha, envisaging a net cash outgo of over 2.99 lakh crore rupees and 74,517 crore rupees extra expenditure would be matched by savings by different ministries.
Later, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman tabled the supplementary demands for grants for 2021-22 in the Rajya Sabha. As per the document, 62,057 crore rupees would be given to the Civil Aviation Ministry for equity infusion in Air India Assets Holding Company AIAHL for repayment of past government guaranteed borrowing and past dues or liabilities of Air India. In October, the government signed the share purchase agreement with Tata Sons for the sale of Air India, along with low-cost carrier Air India Express and ground handling arm ASATS for 18,000 crore rupees. The amount includes payment of 2,700 crore rupees in cash and takeover 15,300 crore rupees of the carrier's debt. As of August the 31st, Air India had a total debt of 61,562 crore rupees. Of the total amount, Thales, a Tata Group company, will take over 15,300 crore rupees and the remaining 46,262 crore rupees will be transferred to AIAHL. As per the supplementary demands for grants, an additional 2,628 crore rupees would be given towards loans and advances to Air India for recoupment of advance from Contingency Fund of India. The additional fertilizer subsidy includes 43,430 crore rupees on account of payment towards indigenous and imported phosphatic and potassium subsidy and 15,000 crore rupees towards a urea subsidy scheme. Besides, the Department of Food and Public Distribution would be given an additional 49,805 crore rupees for meeting expenditure towards various schemes of food storage and warehousing. About 2,400 crore rupees would be given to the Department of Commerce for meeting expenditure towards subsidies under the Interest Equalization Scheme and investment under the Export Credit Guarantee Corporation Scheme, among others. Another over 5,000 crore rupees and over 4,000 crore rupees have been earmarked for additional spending by the Ministries of Defence and Home. The 2021-22 budget had projected the government's total expenditure at 34.83 lakh crore rupees, but this is expected to overshoot considering the two batches of supplementary demands for grants presented by the government so far. As per the supplementary demands for grants, about 14,000 crore rupees additional amount has been sought for Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, including for meeting the requirement for non-performing asset under Prime Minister's Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, PM Swanidhi, and grants for creation of capital assets under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. For meeting additional expenditure towards grants for creation of capital assets under MP LAD's Members of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, the government has proposed 1,153 crore rupees for the current fiscal year. During the 0 hour, BJP's Raigad MP Gomati Sai thanked Home Minister Amit Shah for his efforts to bring down the violent activities by Naxals in Bastar. She said, due to the pressure exerted by central forces, the Naxals are on the back foot.
Meanwhile, also during 0 hour, Pavesh Verma, BJP MP from West Delhi, raised the issue of exorbitant water and electricity bills being handed to people in Delhi, with the Kejriwal government claiming that they were being given to people for free. During the question hour, TMC MP Nusrat Jahan Ruhi raised the issue of disinvestment of profit-making PSUs by the government. She sought clarification on what the roadmap of the government is with respect to the future of PSUs. Two bills were introduced in Lok Sabha to extend the tenures of directors of the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate up to a maximum of 5 years from the present to 2 years amid strong protests from opposition members. The Central Vigilance Commission Amendment Bill and the Delhi Special Police Establishment Amendment Bill were introduced in the Lok Sabha by Minister of State for Personnel, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to limit the tenures of directors of the CBI and ED to a maximum of 5 years respectively. The two bills seek to replace ordinances issued during the inter-session period. Opposing the introduction of the two bills, Congress member Shashi Tharoor said the move to extend the tenures of the directors of central investigative agencies were in flagrant disregard of the Supreme Court observations. Mr. Tharoor said the Apex Code had observed that extension of tenure granted to officers who have attained the age of superannuation should be done only in rare and exceptional cases, and the government move was nullified. Trinamool member Saugata Roy opposed the move, contending that both the ED and CBI were two arms of the government that are being used to harass opposition leaders. Congress members K. Suresh, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and RSP member N. K. Premachandran also opposed the introduction of the bill. The members said piecemeal extensions would lead to officers' loyalty to the government. Seeking to allay the apprehensions of the opposition members, Dr. Jitendra Singh said the earlier laws only fixed a minimum limit on the tenures of the directors of the CBI and the ED.
And now a review of the proceedings in the Rajya Sabha. Writer is Rajesh Ahuja of UNI. The issue of suspension of 12 opposition MPs continued to rock the Rajya Sabha for the fifth day in the winter session of Parliament today. Soon after the laying of papers, Manoj Kumar Jha of the RJD raised the issue of suspension of opposition MPs, saying the opposition MPs are sitting in protest at the Gandhi statue. Amid the noisy scenes by opposition members, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu said the Leader of the House and Leader of the Opposition should sit together to resolve the issue. He said there is a misconception that Leader of the Opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, was not allowed to speak on the issue. He clarified that he had allowed the Leader of the Opposition to speak on the issue on November the 30th. Amid the uproar, Leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha, Piyush Goyal, said it was lamentable that the opposition members were not willing to express regret for their behaviour in the House. During the 0-hour, nominated member Sonal Man Singh said that after the COVID pandemic, most of the cultural bodies are headless. She said that vacant posts need to be filled up as soon as possible. That is all in Parliament Review. In the second and final cricket test match between India and New Zealand in Mumbai, the hosts were 221 for the loss of 4 wickets in their first innings at stumps on the opening day. As a top scorer, Mayank Agarwal with 120 runs on board was at the crease with Ridhiman Saha at 25. Opting to bat first after the delayed start due to wet patches on the outfield and the pitch, the Indian openers added 80 runs for the first wicket before Ejaz Patel took 3 wickets in consecutive overs to bring New Zealand back in the game. Virat Kohli, Cheteshwar Pujara and Shubman Gill were Ejaz's 3 dismissals. Later, Shreyas Iyer also lost his wicket, succumbing to Ejaz's delivery. Now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says our digital public infrastructure solutions can improve the lives of citizens around the world. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says several precautionary measures have been taken to tackle challenge of new coronavirus variant Omicron. Centre asked states and union territories to be extra vigilant to contain spread of Omicron. National COVID vaccination coverage crosses 126 crore mark. President Ramnath Kovind confers annual National Awards on International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Cyclonic storm Jawad likely to reach west central Bay of Bengal off North Andhra Pradesh, South Odisha coasts by tomorrow morning. And in cricket, riding on Mayank Agarwal's century, India post 221 for 4 in first innings against New Zealand at stumps on day 1 of Mumbai Test. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.
The Navy gives me adventure in every venture.
The Navy gives me the chance to discover capabilities I never knew I had.
The Navy gives me a package complete with the country's respect and recognition.
The Navy gives you more. Indian Navy, an ocean of opportunities. www.joinindiannavy.gov.in